Hello, Vicar David here from the recording studio at the rectory. Well, as you can probably see, it's a caravan really, but we use it as a recording studio. And this afternoon I want to talk with you about kindness. We could say that's a fairly easy idea because we all know that it's good to be kind. But have you ever thought why you might want to be kind? You might want to be kind so that people see you being kind and think how nice you are. You might want to be kind in the hope that somebody might be kind to you back. But we're going to read in the Bible today the story of somebody who wanted to be kind just because he could be and he chose to be. The story is about two people with two very different names. The first character is King David. Now there's a good name. And you might already know that King David was probably the greatest king that the people of Israel ever had. You might have heard many stories about him. When he was a young boy, God had chosen him to be the person who one day would lead his people. And there's a very famous story about him having a fight with a huge giant called Goliath. You can probably guess who won. Well, David did eventually become king. And because he obeyed God and tried hard to do what God called him to do, God blessed him. There was peace in the land and everything was going well. What happened next comes from the second book of Samuel, which we can find in the Old Testament. And I'm reading from chapter 9. King David said to his advisers, "I remember my good friend Jonathan." Now, Jonathan had been killed in battle some years earlier. David said, "I can't be kind to Jonathan now, but is there a member of his family that I could be kind to?" "Yes," they said. "He has a son called Mephibosheth. He cannot walk easily because his feet were damaged in an accident when he was a child." King David told them to go and fetch Mephibosheth. Now he was very worried. What would a king want with someone like him? Usually when you were summoned to see the king, it meant bad news. But he needn't have worried. King David smiled and welcomed him. The king gave back to Mephibosheth all the land that had been taken away from his family. He was given people to look after him. But the greatest honour of all was that David invited him to come and live in the palace with him. He would sit at his table and eat meals with him. He'd be treated just like one of the king's own sons. Can you imagine how it would feel to sit and eat with the king every day? Well, there are a few things in that story that we need to talk about. First of all, didn't they have some great names in the Bible? Fancy being called Mephibosheth. Sometimes people say Mephibosheth, But however you pronounce it, can you imagine when he was a child trying to learn how to spell his name? I think I'll stick with Vicar David. But secondly, and more seriously, you might like to think about why King David decided to be kind. He didn't have to be. He just chose to be. I think he was so aware of God's kindness to him over the years, how God had blessed him so much, that he just wanted to share that kindness with someone else. When God blesses us, we naturally want to be a blessing to others. King David wanted to share the blessing that God had given to him. Thirdly, you might want to think about who you could show kindness to and how you could do that. You don't have to have a reason to be kind. And it doesn't cost you anything more than perhaps your time. Maybe you could think together about ways in which you could show kindness to others. You could make some cakes or brownies and give them to a neighbour or a friend. They did this in the Stepping Stones group last month. Or you could make it a card and send it to someone to remind them that you remember them. Or you could help with a little job, like sweeping leaves or folding towels or washing up, just to show kindness, just because you can.
What are you doing, Charlie?
I'm making pancakes for Mummy and Deanie because they're hungry.
Making me a pancake?
No,
Thank
two of
you.
you.
Oh, thank you, darling.
And all of us.
Okay, show me how to do it then. Wow!
What are you up to, Ada?
Doing a call for Nanny Granddad because I don't see him much. Yeah.
Aww, that's kind. Give him a kiss.
I've been kind by helping the builders. So here we are.
Oh, olives and coffee.
Would you like anything else?
This is lovely. Thank you very much. So kind of you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm thinking on the sound because it's nice for the birds to eat.
Okay, come on. What are you doing, Phoebe?
Making the cat food.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Nom nom. Nom 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 nom. Robert. Yeah, I've got a bit on me. Now I need to lick it off.
Give him a drink. That's a really kind thing to do. Go on then.
Thank you.
Myself. You're so kind. Yes, boy. Now you're so kind.
have you got for Daddy?
Chocolate cake.
Oh, hello, Hugh.
Here you go, Daddy.
Thank you very much. So kind.
Here's your drink, Joshua. Thank you, Izzy.
What are you doing, Eddie?
Hoovering.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind.
Daddy.
I wonder whose life you could brighten today just by being kind.